Welcome to our first ever graduation. And just for the parents, the content of this program is more or less the equivalent of a degree course. It's just that students don't have time to do the degree classwork. But what we covered was pretty much everything that is covered in a degree program in animation, or at least traditional animation, and or it should be, because a lot of colleges don't cover a lot of this anymore, because they think drawing is not essential. They think that if a student learns how to use software, they're animators, and that's not true at all. The computer only does what you put into it. You add to the computer. So we don't teach software so much because software is changing all the time. Software is going off in 100 different directions. But the one thing that's central to everything in software is the skill of the person operating the software. So we concentrate on giving students artistic skills and animation skills, movement skills, and they can apply those to any form of animation further down the line. But the material we cover here is the equivalent of a degree program. Okay. Do the four main ones, these four main ones, and they have to add 4 short elective courses that we're setting up. 2 of them already exist. Drawing for Animation, History of Animation already exists. We're going to have one in character design, drawing basics for beginners, which is going to be taught by our other teacher here. We now have Madeline Owen, who is the other teacher. But Madeline's teaching a drawing and painting class here, but also she's going to be, we're going to record a class that she's going to do basic drawing techniques for any students that want to learn how to work with a pencil better to do their animation. So there are 4 elective modules we're going to do. There's future ones coming. Apprenticeship, which is something we're going to be offering some students beyond this, working with me on real projects. And then we've got 3 others to be announced. And but basically, so we're diversifying, but we are just always going to be running the in-class one, or even in Zoom class one, however it works out. But there are going to be other possibilities, and people they don't have to do the diploma program, they can buy these courses individually online as a separate course. It's because you worked hard, you had a lot of work to do, you had a lot of work competing with the work you had to do, I know that, and while you're at school it's impossible to find time to do anything more than in classroom, but you guys did a good job. So what I wanted to do is be quite informal. I wanted to show you, this is the sneak peek. You guys are seeing this before anyone. This is not online. I've been doing this new website for us, and I just want to talk you through what the 2D Academy is and how we're moving forward from here. And this is all going to go live tomorrow, but I wanted to save it for everyone, especially parents today, so you could see. So this is our homepage. These links will go away, and they'll all be at the top like those ones up there. But essentially, we're pretty unique. There is not another school like this anywhere in the country, and possibly even in the world, to do what we're doing. Traditional hand-drawn animation, drawing, painting, things like that. And we're developing 2D, means two-dimensional, means hand-drawn, means painting, means all creative arts that are more or less done with the hands. And we are expanding that. And so this website is reflecting the journey forward. And you guys were the first generation, our first generation. I'm very proud of you all. So drawing and painting, this is Madeline's section. I haven't got any material for her yet, but just to say that we're going to have a module D1 and P1 drawing painting, and she's going to be developing that. You guys are doing the summer class at the moment, but there's going to be is it 36 weeks, Jeff?
36, yeah.
36 weeks.
It's down, it's
once a week.
All the syllabus, all so
yeah. Just for parents to know, for anyone to finish a film is a big challenge, honestly. There's so much involved. It looks very simple when you see it. It looks very short. But the amount that these kids will tell you, the amount of work goes into it is unbelievable. And it's only when they do it for the first time they realize, oh my word, there's so much work here. And it's difficult. And because they're still at school, they've got so many other competing classes doing it, it's hard for anyone to really expand. I'm not a terrible tyrant with kids making their films. I just want to see them make something, finish something, so that they've gone through the experience. Okay, to the student, they're called Junior Golden Pencil Awards. We're going to set it up internally in the school. And the best student, eventually, we're not deciding it yet, but the best student over the year is going to get a golden pencil from the school. And one pencil goes internally and one pencil goes externally. As it happens, Lucas is the only external student we had this year, but he's so deserving of it. I'll show you his film in a minute. He's so deserving of it, we're going to send one to him as well. However, Alice won a golden pencil at my last festival, and we're never able to get it to her, so I'm going to give her her golden pencil today from the past, because she made a great little film for my festival. So I didn't go to college. My art school training was in illustration, graphic design, typography, things like that. I had no idea I was going to do animation, and as I said, life took me there. And once I got in, I realized I loved it, so I stayed here. But apprenticeship is the best way of learning. So even though I write lots of books, and even though we do this course and everything, really the best way for students to learn the best stuff, the best way, is through apprenticeship. So I'm trying to give a couple of students that kind of apprenticeship. It's something that I would like to set up for students where they can apprentice on real projects with me. So they can, with COVID, I don't know about working alongside me, which is what it normally is, but certainly working in collaboration with me, having students draw things for me and create things and help me and in between and all those things. It's really the best learning process. But apprenticeship really is the best way, and that's why I want to add that to the course. But also, in answer to your question, it would be great if we could have an ongoing something after this for those who are not going to apprentice but are just passionate to do their thing. So I'd like to set that up as well. So we have 3 stages of making a film. One is in pre-production, you come up with the idea, you design the characters, you do a storyboard, which is a picture sketch of how the film's going to look. And then you do a more full version of that where you draw it up full size. You're still not animating it, but it's called an animatic. And that shows what the film's going to be before it's animated. And because Michael didn't have time to do the animation part, his finished project was an animatic of his idea. But it's still hilarious. So I'm going to show you that right now. And he couldn't attend the live classes because for him it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. He actually did come to the first one. It was kind of funny. And I said, you don't have to. So what I've been doing is recording the classes and putting them online the next day. And he would pick up on the next day. And he was lucky because he wasn't at high school. He's graduated high school. So he had a lot more time to work on his project. So, well, Thomas can explain his own film, but when Thomas came 48 classes ago, he was very small. Well, much smaller. And then suddenly he's elasticated. He's suddenly got squash and stretch. In animation, there's a thing called squash and stretch, and he's stretched, which is amazing. When I saw him the other week, I couldn't believe it was the same person because when I first met him, I was looking down, and now I'm looking up. So. There's Thomas and Michael who's in the afternoon session. Oh no, he's here to we're going to present you. They've got this wicked sense of humor, and you'll see with Mike, and they're great storytellers. So even if you don't go on to be an animator, think about writing. Okay, writing comedy, humor, because you have that wicked sense of humor that I know is out there You see it on television, you see it all kinds of places. See, I run a festival every February, the Drawtastic Animation Festival, and it's in its 10th year now. And always to the winning films, we gave a golden pencil to our winners. They didn't come to Seattle, we couldn't afford to bring them to Seattle, but we'd ship them out to them around the world. And but we decided, Jeff and I are going to do a junior golden pencil award just for the 2D Academy. And so this will be the first year of judging, and we'll eventually announce who will win that year. We'll probably announce it nearer to the day of my festival, so that people attending online, my festival's online, by the way, people attending that website will, students from here will get exposure on that website as well. And it happens once a year, and it goes out online in February. And we have different categories, like traditional hand-drawn, 2D animation, commercials, all different variations of categories. And for the winners in each category, if we choose winners, not always, but if we do, we give them a Golden Pencil Award. And this has been going now for something like, I think we're in our 10th year now. But what we've decided here is we're going to give a junior Golden Pencil Award to the best student in the class here, and the best student internationally will. Or if they want to go on, if any of you guys want to go on to a college which has a degree course, and parents, trust me on this, students don't need a degree course to move on in the industry. However, they have to be really, really good. And how do you get to be really good? In some cases, some colleges, degree colleges are really good. Most of them are average at best. Most of them don't teach what they should be teaching. And thousands of students graduate every year. Most of them don't get a career. But anyone who's talented, I had, a few years ago, I went to Pixar. I got friends who work at Pixar, worked there years, animation directors and people like that. And at Pixar, they told me, they said, look, every month we see 1,000 show reels. A show reel is a student's work put together, not just a film, but lots of different things of their work put together to show their work. It's called a show reel. So when students graduate from college, they all make a show reel and they all send it to Pixar and DreamWorks and Disney and whatever. Pixar said we see 1,000 a month. And pretty much every college who sends us student show reels, they're all the same. They all look the same. They all know how to use software. They all know how to do the basics with that software, but none of them look different. They all look the same. And they said what we're looking for are the students that have talent in other directions. We can train them in software. They said if a kid comes through the door and has got a show reel which is just little stick figures drawn, but they move beautifully, we will hire that kid immediately. Because what we're looking for are people who understand movement and how things move well and everything. We can teach software. And in fact, Pixar have their own software. You can't buy their software. Their software it's called proprietary. It means they develop their own system. So anyone joining Pixar has to learn their software. You know, if you know other software, it helps, but they won't hire kids, students, applicants who just know software. They're not interested in that. They want to see more talent, and that's what's missing in most of the degree courses. So the answer is, you've got to be good, and how do you get good? And there are really good programs. You know, there are really good programs, and I would say there's about 5 or 6 top animation schools that I would say are teaching the right things, but another 1,000 are not, you know. And so somebody who's self-motivated and driven can actually get really good by just going to community classes, by going to the 2D Academy as a platform and then going and picking up bits of classes everywhere. That's why we're expanding all our classes so that eventually students will have everything here to get good, you know. So that's the reality. Certain degree courses are very good. Most of them are not worth the money you're going to spend as parents. You just have to know. And I always say, if you're considering a course at a college, don't just go to that college for its reputation. There are very famous colleges out there who in the past have done great things, but colleges are only as good as their faculty, and faculty change all the time. So don't just go to a college because of reputation. Find out who their faculty is, what have they done themselves in the career sense. And then they're the best teachers, the ones who have done it themselves and know it themselves. Okay, well, I think I said this to you with Alice. Alice was so young, I was kind of reluctant, but you showed me some of the things she did, and I thought, okay, let's take a chance with Alice. So I would say a driven, talented 10-year-old could join the course.
Okay, do they have to have a well-trained drawing skill?
No, because some students in the course don't draw very well. And if they see it as a career path, you know, ultimately that's what they want to do. Young kids don't really know. I didn't know when I graduated out of art school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I stumbled into animation. I didn't intend to, that wasn't my plan at all. But I stumbled into it and I fell in love with it. But drawing ability helps in the sense that if you're drawing animation, these guys will tell you, it takes a long while. And I always say in my class, if you're proposing to make a film with a character you designed, time yourself, how long did it take to draw that character? And then multiply that by 12 times every second of film you're going to make. So don't make the characters hard to draw. You know? So, but if you've got drawing ability, it helps speed the process a little bit. If you're comfortable with drawing, it's going to help. And that's why we're doing our drawing and painting courses, to help people. And one of the electives, what is going to be, if you don't draw very well, how can you learn to draw better? You're not going to become Michelangelo or, you know, Leonardo da Vinci, but to be confident with a pencil is all we ask. But technically, stick figures, moving well is, you know, if it's good enough for Pixar, it's good enough for us. Interest and passion and commitment are really important. Alice has got that. A lot of 10-year-olds don't. So, you know, that's why I was a bit hesitant at the beginning, but Alice is the exception to the rule. So if she is an exception and passionate and wants to do it, because otherwise if she doesn't, she's gonna find it really boring after a while. And it's not so much fall behind, because I always try to keep everyone on their level moving forward, but it'll just be hell for her because she's going to have to draw drawing after drawing after drawing, and it's very difficult. But I tell you, she drew a plant growing. I tell you one funny story that years ago, I found a seed, and I thought, it's a dandelion seed. Okay, I'm going to plant that, and every day it starts growing, I'm going to draw it. And then I'm going to have the animation of it. So I spent, you know, it took a few days for it to start sprouting. So I drew the first little, and it was easy at first because it was small and just getting a little bit bigger and bigger. But then gradually it started growing really big and branching out. And I thought, this isn't a dandelion, but I've come so far, I'll just keep going. In the end, that thing grew to about that big, that wide, and masses of branches and leaves, and I didn't have to, it took me hours to draw every day, and I gave up on it. But it was years ago, and you know, in England, and I don't have the drawings, but it actually looked very good. But I just ran out of energy in the end, because there was thousands of leaves on it and everything, so I couldn't do it.
What plant is it?
It was kind of, I think it turned out to be a deadly nightshade, which is a poisonous plant. Yeah, and I don't know, it was a seed under a dandelion, And I thought, oh, that's a dandelion seed for sure. It's a tiny little thing, and planted it. And no, it wasn't a dandelion. It would have been easy as a dandelion. No, it wouldn't, because of the flowers, the complex, but I was anticipating. But I wasn't expecting branches and leaves and all kinds of things. So yeah, I think it was a deadly nightshade in here. And funny enough, just after that, I got a TV commercial to do for a seed catalogue, and I had to animate in watercolor paintings a cabbage growing, because it was a cabbage. They were selling cabbage seeds for the spring, and I had to, and it had Beethoven music going to it. It was really, actually, I really enjoyed it. So we hand drew it first, and then came back. Once we got the movement right, I was happy with the movement. Then we went back, and I got a group of watercolor artists to each work on it, to share the load a bit, you know. I'm actually contracted to write a book this year on, it's basically it's animation masterclass from pencils to pixels, that's what it's called. And it's basically this course put into a book form. And I want to use student examples to show what students can do, and they'll all be credited and everything. But it would be terrific to show real student work, as opposed to me, like in my old books, I illustrated most of the things in there, and it's a heavy task. But I think it's more real if you see what real students do, and I'd like to do that. So, you know. Okay, well, all I can say is thanks again for coming. You guys, students, thanks for doing the course. Thanks for hanging in there to the very end. And hopefully it's just the beginning of something. You may never, as I say, you may never as a career end up as animators, but I hope it's opened your mind to things. It's given you ideas. Certainly Thomas and Michael totally revealed this crazy mind of really clever ideas. If you do nothing else, you've got great ideas, and you could develop, even if you, maybe comic books, maybe, you know, graphic novels, maybe animated television series as writers or designers or whatever. But so it just, you know, this talk about planting seeds. This is a seed, and I just hope it will grow, and you all enjoyed the experience anyway. And I hope when this is not the end of seeing you as well.
That's a great experience. I know, like Michael told me he enjoyed every moment of this class. Like not the boring part, but coming up with the ideas.
Yeah,
like
he's an ideas person.
He is very into drama actually. He likes to perform.
Yeah.
So I can see that this plant a good seeds in her career sometime, maybe. I don't know. Like,
well, they always say that animators are scared actors because and it's true of me. It's absolutely true of me. You know, there's part of me that would love to be an actor, but I get intimidated in front of I would, for some reason at school, I was always the chosen person to be the star in the play, and I hated it. I mean, a little bit of me really liked it, being up on the stage, but I was in a very rough school and it wasn't good. You get bullied if you're put forward like that, you know, and I had to deal with that. And it was a very tough, but what I find is I can get all my drama out on the screen through my animation. And it's a good therapy, and I've always seen it as therapy. I still love doing it. It's when I'm stressed, I'll sit down and start drawing some animation. It takes forever, and as I get older, my body doesn't like it so much, but I love doing it. And you know, so whatever he found, I know it was difficult for him because he struggled with drawing. I know that, and that is always going to be difficult. But he has that imagination that maybe it gave him a step forward where he can take his imagination. And same in Thomas as well.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for coming. Okay, thank you. All right, I'm going to mask up.